It is. Tigers need prospects. They can't just give them away for nothing as a salary dump. I still go to games at this point, but they'll lose me if they do that. Horse racing talk, we love it. More. I can't. Guys, come on. We have to be real about it now. I mean, I used to do the Saratoga thing just to annoy Terry, but I mean, come on. This is. It is a right versus wrong subject. It's right to move them, prospects or no prospects. Dump his payroll on another team dumb enough to take it. Well, no, I agree with that. Where I don't think it's right and wrong is whether you're willing to lose him for the entirety of the contract and get very little back, or if you say, no, I'm not willing to do that. I'd rather pay a little bit and get something. That's where I don't think there's a right and wrong. I just think it's two different opinions. No, you're absolutely right. You have to get rid of him. And if the Cubs are willing to step up with that type of financial commitment, I'm willing to lose him for very little because I want that money off the books.
And that's what you need to start a rebuild. You need that financial flexibility. I mean, $28 million next year, $28 the next year, $22 the year after that.
Yeah, that's a vesting option, but yes.
Not having that on the books is huge for a team that's trying to actually go in that rebuild direction.
And it's step 1 of 3. You know, you've got a couple of these deals on the books where I don't think you can function. Now, it's going to help when Kinsler's off the books. It's going to help when V-Mart's off the books. I understand all of that. But the sooner you can trim this thing down, the sooner you can get back to business. And look, I understand you need young talent. You need a core. You don't have that necessarily. But you can't do it all at once. This is a step in the right direction. I'll give away any veteran who can help this team win now if they can't get anything in return for it. Build through the draft. Get what you can in deals. Yes, I'm willing to move JV and salary for flexibility, even if the return is 0. 248-539-9797. Boy, I tell you, it's a weird Friday, huh? That Nightingale report's like a fart in the wind. Maybe people are just totally on it. They're ready to roll. Give them away. Postage stamp. I know, though, this week a lot of people had called in and ticket texted in saying, oh, no. I don't want to just give Verlander away. You know, the Avila comments we talked about yesterday, a lot of people had called him and said, no, I'd be fine keeping him. No, I think you're out of your mind. But the Verlander stuff with the Cubs, there's something there. And if the Cubs are going to make that commitment, I really don't care what I get back.
I'm shocked they are. I mean, that's a ton of money. I'm shocked they're so happy to accept that contract.
I don't think they're happy. I just think when you've gutted your system, there's very few options out there that present themselves as a cash grab. When you look at a guy like Sonny Gray is expensive. Is inexpensive. When you looked at Quintana, inexpensive. Let's say the Texas Rangers decided they were going to fold shop and in a hypothetical fantasy land traded Cole Hamels. Hamels' contract is infinitely better than Verlander's, and Hamels is better than Verlander right now. My point is, Verlander's deal is the worst of the bunch, and he's the guy pitching the worst. Now, I believe you get him in a place like Wrigley Field, bright lights. That's a guy I think will snap back into action. But, Mike, they're in win-now mode. They won the World Series last year. And when you look at their core of Bryant and Schwarber and Baez and adding Quintana for next to nothing, and look, they got a lot of guys making very little money. It's reprehensible to add this, but you could add it.
Now, I assume they'd have to throw in something, right? It's just some
but they would
lesser prospect.
It would be an Arizona Diamondbacks type return, if that.
Yeah, I think that's got to be priority number 1, just getting that salary out the books. Because when you look at how scary it's going to be over the next couple of years, as you mentioned, especially 2-3 years from now with Cabrera and Verlander, not having that on the books is monumental in terms of just building around, and rebuilding. Assuming
that Upton doesn't opt out. Now, if he opted out and you got rid of Verlander, you've chopped damn near $50 million off your payroll. I mean, that's a real nice job.
What some people will say is that, well, rebuilding isn't all about money. It's about getting those young prospects and not paying a lot of guys money and stuff, but it's all part of it. Of course, it's important to have prospects. It's huge. And the Tigers are a system that never have had a good farm system. But, hey, having that $28 million off would be great.
Well, here's my point, though. This is also why weeks ago I brought up the Fulmer thing. I don't know that you can do a proper rebuild without dealing him. I mean, let's look at it. J.D. Martinez did not fetch impactful prospects. Justin Verlander's not going to fetch them alone. Wilson will. But outside of that, you really don't have a whole lot that's going to work. I mean, Avila, I would hope, could fetch you something decent, being that he's the best offensive catcher on the market. But other than that, you're kind of in neutral.
What do you think impacts the rebuild more, though, out of the two?
What?
Just specifically for assigning value to both of these choices here.
Okay.
Slashing payroll or rebuilding with top prospects?
Oh, it's top prospects. Got to have them.
Which is interesting to the discussion, though, because we're both sitting here selling that, hey, you need to just slash the payroll.
Right.
But if we're admitting that, hey, prospects is more important to a rebuild, then shouldn't we be saying that Verlander should fetch at least something?
Yeah, if they had the ability to get, I guess, Mikey, if they had the ability to dump other big contracts, or the inverse would be more players that they could get top prospects for, my answer might be different. But I kind of view it that they're in neutral. So if I'm saying, okay, they're not going to put enough money in a Verlander deal to get a huge return because that mitigates the finances. And frankly, the Cubs don't have a ton left in their system. Of course, they still have some, but they've gutted themselves. My value is the following then. Okay, if I can recoup all of that money and take a big step towards getting this thing closer to where it needs to be, along with V-Mark going bye-bye, after next year, and along with Kinsler going bye-bye. I wish you could find a way for Upton to get the hell out of here. But the other question in it, too, as we put the number out, 248-539-9797, would it make you sick to see Verlander win a World Series with, like, the Yankees or the Cubs?
No.
It wouldn't for you?
I think people are going to be rooting for Verlander. I really do.
Wait, as a Yankee?
I think people loved Verlander here. They're going to root for him wherever he goes.
All right. I will tell you, I think you got a shot that people would root for him as a Cub. A shot.
A lot of people here like the Cubs.
I don't think you have any shot if he went to the Yankees, as Wojo continues to beg for. I don't think anybody'd root for him. I think they'd root for him to fail.
And you'd certainly think he would waive that no-trade clause for either of those two teams. You'd think.
I think he'd be silly not to.
But, I mean, look, we have people now that will root for Scherzer, that like to see these no-hitters and perfect game type, when he's pitching a perfect game, people tune in. I think Verlander's a likable figure. He's been around here forever, and it's one of those guys where people are going to still like him and root for him if he goes somewhere else, I think.
248-539-9797. You got two things in the hopper. Bob Nightingale report, Cubs are willing to pay damn near the whole contract, but they're not giving you a ton back. Part two is simple. Let's say Verlander goes to the Yankees, like Wojo is putting out there, or Verlander goes to the Cubs. What is your vomit level watching him win a World Series with either of those teams? I got to imagine it would be pretty high. Sully disagrees. He goes to the Yankees? Mike, there's no way people here.
I think Detroiters here would find it appealing to tune into postseason baseball with Verlander on the hill and want him to do well. Want to see that must-see JV that we've seen here over the past decade. I think
not with the Yankees.
I don't know. It's compartmentalizing, though. It's people rooting for the individual just because you've liked him here. I think Tigers fans would do that.
I'll tell you what, you keep track of that on the ticket text. I don't know how many calls we'll get on that in particular, but I don't think there's any way people here would support him with that NY in his chest. I just don't see it.
Can't see people just turning on him. He's loved.
I don't know, man. If you're calling a radio station and you're willing to give him away for free, haven't you already?
Well, that's just because you want the team to rebuild. I don't think people have anything against him individually or personally.
I'm just saying you're talking about a love affair that I don't know is still there.
I think he's very well liked, very respected. I haven't heard anything otherwise, really.
No, you're missing the point. I'm saying that when people call up and they're like, look, I'm just done, get him out of here, go, you really think that those same people would then turn around and go, oh, it's JV. Oh, go Yankees, go. I don't see that.
Kind of a win-win, though, isn't it? Because it helps the team, but you still are happy for the guy that he's finally going to go to capture that ring?
I think if he went to Houston, it's a win-win. Who the hell roots against the Astros?
But there's a respect level for Verlander where you want him to ultimately – that's the one thing he doesn't have. People have the respect for him where you want to see him just cap off his career and finally get that World Series title. Of course, it'd be bittersweet because he didn't win it here in Detroit. But people would still root for that, I think.
248-539-9797. The ticket text 97136. We'll get to your phone calls on all things Verlander as it's hot in the news today. We'll do it next. 97.1.